All right, boys. So you already know what to expect, as I am going to be showcasing the new Angel of the Spear MAEL versus all of the demonic beasts. Ooh, this is gonna be so good. Now, is this character better than Berserk Esterosa? Is this character better than Light MAEL in PvE? We are going to be finding out about that today. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Again, make sure you guys like, subscribe again, because again, I think I'm like the only person who will suffer trying to use these characters in Demonic Beast. So I appreciate if you guys hit that subscribe button for all the love. So hopefully you guys enjoy. And again, like for most people always ask like, yo, Marilli, what gear do you be using in your Demonic Beast videos? It's most likely going to be attack crit damage. But if I'm not using attack crit damage, it's either going to be HP/defense. It's usually never anything special. Usually the only time I use something special is probably Ratatoskr, where you want to crit resist rolls or crit resist gear on, so you don't get crit on. But other than that, it's going to be normal attack crit damage or even HP/defense on my characters. So hopefully this all works out. All right, so you already know what time it is, as we are going to be showcasing pretty much the MAEL versus all of the demonic beasts. And again, right now we are on the bird. Now the bird is obviously the easiest one of the four, unless you go into the 4th floor. But pretty much you just blasting characters left and right with the goddess team. Again, they are very powerful characters. Right now I'm using Marilli. I feel like having another DPS would be really nice with the goddess team. So that is gonna be what I'm pretty much using. I'm also using Rid Sariel, and it's because again, if you don't take damage with your team, you gain a crazy attack boost with Sariel for your entire goddess team. So that's why I use the Sariel, because he just makes it very worthwhile to deal high amounts of damage, which could be very helpful, you know, allowing you to hit really hard. And again, we also have Margaret as well too, just so honestly, Margaret technically don't even need to be here. Like, she's just there for the random cleanse buffs if I want to waste a turn or not. But you technically don't need Margaret at all right here in this slot. You can use, I don't know, like Magelda if you really want to. Like, it's not like MAEL in terms of passive is actually really reliant on a full goddess team. Again, he just has abilities where if you have a full goddess team, you could have a lot of benefits. Like, I think it's like increase all goddess characters by what, 4% per goddess on the field. So it's not like you need a team to kind of activate his passive or anything like that. But you can technically use whatever you want to with MAEL, which could be really nice. Again, that gives him a lot more option when it comes to PvE, especially because the light MAEL was like more so a PvE character for the most part of his, like, since he's been released. Honestly, like, I remember when MAEL first released, he wasn't really good in PvP, but they had, I think they literally, was it before or after they had released the Nidhoggr relic for Freya, and kind of just made MAEL just a PvE character at that point, and being very, very powerful against Nidhoggr, especially if you had like dupes. Yeah, like I said, for a goddess team, it's not really much to talk about with the goddess team. They just hits really hard. Again, this team is just mainly so going through floor 1 to 3. If you are a person who wants to do 4th floor, you want to use the unknown team. Again, there are a lot of recommended teams. Again, Milim, usually people use like Milim, Xion, Magelda, and what's the other character? Is it Freyr? I forget what they use. Again, they have a lot of characters or options when it comes to the unknowns. Oh, Thor. How did I forget about the main character most people use, or the character who's literally used for it, Thor. But yeah, he's pretty cool. That's versus the bird, pretty nice. All right, so now we're on the deer, and as you can see, I'm using Jormungandr, Milim, and also Lancelot. again, with the deer, you kind of mainly want to use different different attributes, because you want to have different colors for each of the parts of the phases, because sometimes in the phases it requires you to kind of go along the attribute wheel. So unfortunately, this MAEL is a darkness character, so it makes it pretty hard to use them in terms of the attribute wheel. So you technically don't want to use characters that are light and dark, because again, they don't benefit the attribute wheel, unfortunately. Again, they are just for fun though, like what I'm doing right now, as I'm using MAEL just for pretty much fun at the moment. So that's why you can see I'm using the other characters though, like Milim and Lancelot, because they are two characters who hits really hard, are matching the attribute, and they also have death damage as well too. So allows you to kind of have a little bit of free wiggle room when it comes to playing against the demonic beast, especially when you're dealing with damage caps. Now this one is like floor 2, which on phase 2 you get a damage reduction buff, and it only can go away if you complete the color wheel fully. So that's why I said before, you usually want to have a team that are consistent of the attributes to kind of benefit the color wheel phases that you may or may not get. So you see right now, I'm just going down the color wheel, whichever character I use. And because I finished the color wheel, I was able to now start to do damage. And that's why I said, like before, you just want to make sure you follow the color wheel, and the deer can be super easy. Hopefully one day they'll have like 4th floor of the deer. And makes it, hopefully they get rid of like the damage cap, like what they did with the bird, where they got rid of mostly the heavy damage caps, just so it can be a lot easier. Or even the color wheel phases and stuff like that are really annoying with the damage reduction until you like complete it, because that can make the deer a lot faster to play against, and that would be really nice. So hopefully that ends up happening, where we do get the 4th floor, and they just make it so the other phases are going to be a lot easier, because that's what they did with the bird. The bird had a whole bunch of damage cap mechanics, but because again the 4th floor is where people are really wanting to grind too, the devs just kind of just made it a lot easier and got rid of some of the damage caps that floor 1 to 3 of the bird had, or kind of annoying passives as well too. So yeah, I'm hoping the same thing for the deer whenever they do release the 4th floor. I feel like it could be really fun and interesting. All right, so we got this setup. Again, we don't really need to pay attention to the color wheel, because again, this doesn't have the damage reduction thing, so we can technically use MAEL card right there and not focus on the color wheel. Again, you still don't want to use the darkness character like what I'm doing right now, but again, you could have moments where you can attack as well too, so that's really nice. So now I'm just trying to like get rid of the this phase, so we're gonna have to get through the damage cap. Good thing I have Milim AoE, so we are guaranteed to at least break it. And this is like I said before, like again, you have phases where you have to deal with the color wheel. So again, having a character like MAEL is gonna be very hurtful to you. Like you saw, I had like mostly 3 of the cards in my space building up, which could kind of hurt my run a little bit if I pulled more MAEL cards rather than the colors that I actually needed, which is green, red, and blue. And that's what I said before, you really don't want to run a darkness or like character, because again, your run could get messed up. I'm gonna do too much damage. Yep. So I'll reset. All right, so we're gonna do this again, and then we ults. Because my single target shouldn't do that much damage because he has nothing on him yet. And now you kill. And that was the deer. All right, so now we're on the dogs, and this time we're using Xion and also Milim. Again, Xion is obviously one of the better PvE characters that we have gotten. I would say this year technically, but it was like last year, because she was kind of like pretty much made for demonic beasts and stuff like that. Most of her passive is mainly PvE, but most players just use her in terms of demonic beasts, especially being paired alongside characters like Milim or Thor. She just kind of is a broken character. And again, when it comes to like character like Milim, Milim is just so amazing that she can just carry your entire team if need be. Man, like the whole showcase felt like a goddamn Milim showcase, right? It's felt like a Milim showcase at this point. But again, it's just something to help out my team. Obviously, I could have used also Goddess team, but again, that probably would have been a lot slower of a team to run, just because again, Goddesses don't have too many characters that do damage, and the only character that really does damage is Marilli, which obviously I wish I could use, but that one, like, they just be a lot more restrictive, right? So hopefully, we get characters like Tristan and stuff like that, or even more other goddess characters like Narabasta. Maybe that could allow us to kind of get a chance to see more and more of the goddess team, other than the same 2 or 3 characters. Or maybe even with Ragnarok, they make some of the god characters, goddess characters, right? It could be a possibility. So hopefully that all works out. And again, Milim just so broken. And here comes MAEL and GG. All right, so we're on the last one. But hopefully this all works out. All right. And Milim, oh my gosh, she literally almost killed off of 1 hit. That's crazy. Like literally off of 1 hit, almost killed. So we're just gonna have this is gonna be really good because we get to stack up our old gauge, which is fine. And again, I target the other dog instead, because again, I don't want to accidentally kill before getting all my gauge stacks. And now we have like pretty much a lot of ultimates, so that's gonna be really good for us, especially dealing with the last floor. And that's gonna be pretty much GG in terms of the dogs. Again, we did this pretty fast. Milim with Xion just allowed us to kind of just play pretty strong. And then that's GG. MAEL for the finish. Again, he still hits really, really hard. And the last, well, this is not the last one, but close to the last one is the main one, which is Nidhoggr. And this is where we want to really see MAEL, because again, the goddess team is the best team for Nidhoggr. And we did have light MAEL, so could dark MAEL or corrupted MAEL kind of be another MAEL for us? We will have to see. Again, the other MAEL has the holy relic, and which why I say he's been feeling like more so a PvE character since he's been released. So it's finally nice to see we have Bell MAEL in terms of a character who feels like an actual PvE character. Because again, like I said, for when it came to like MAEL, he just always felt like a PvE character at the end of the day. So again, maybe you could, like, if you do summon on this banner, you have this MAEL for PvP, and you still use your light MAEL, because I think you are supposed to be getting like a free like MAEL, like part 2. Like part 2, you're supposed to be getting a free one. So that could give you equal opportunity to finally be able to use them and get them. I think are you also supposed to get S-Rosa too? Berserk S-Rosa, the blue one? I mean, he's kind of outdated. Like, most players use Halloween S-Rosa, if anything, if you're going to use the demons. So he's kind of outdated anyways. But still a really cool character, or good character to pretty much use if you are going to use the demons, because he can be really good in PvE. Like a lot of these characters, for the most part, they just some PvE options, which is kind of sucky to say when you talk about PvE, just because again, like PvE is never really hard content. At the end of the day, usually PvE is content that is like super easy. But it's still really nice to see that these characters can have some viability, even if it's in like small roles, you know? Like maybe you just need a support character, so you're using this character, or you need another extra DPS, so now you got a chance to use that character again. And it's just little small roles that sometimes these characters fulfill, but they don't feel too useless. And I feel like it ends up being an issue sometimes, that sometimes a character just feels too useless, especially when you make them PvP reliant and stuff like that. Because if you have no uses in terms of PvP, then you will have no uses nowhere in the game at that point. So it's kind of nice when they have a character that is able to kind of thrive in both PvP and PvE, because then you don't have to be kind of restricted to one thing. You have multiple options when it comes to that character. And that's what we have with this MAEL. Like, you can use him in PvP and you can use him in PvE, what I'm doing. Obviously, some people might still like MAEL for Nidhoggr, and that's fine. Again, this is just another character to showcase or option. But if you feel like, yo, you like your light MAEL, then go for it. I think the crazy thing is about Nidhoggr is that it still takes a very long time to play. Like, I just realized in terms of like the time frame from all the other demonic beasts that I've done, like Nidhoggr took a very long time to beat. Obviously, because right now it just has a lot of gimmicks that are a little bit stally. Because again, you have to do a little point thresholds and stuff like that most of the time, and that could become very stally in terms of defeating the boss and stuff like that. While usually if you put the boss to 0, they're dead, right? But when it comes to the Nidhoggr, like if you put the boss to 0, you better check that point gauge on the far left. If that stuff is not at 0%, you're probably not gonna be able to kill that character off. That's why I say it can be a little bit stalling. Like, ooh, look at that. Like, we was able to get through that phase pretty easy. I remember when I used to use like MAEL without the Holy Relic, I used to like struggle trying to get through that phase. So it's really nice to be able to use this MAEL and see that he just cooks it like without no effort. I think I could be able to deal with it now though, in terms of Nidhoggr first phase on floor 3 without the Holy Relic. It's just that I never really tried it technically, right? Just because whenever I did Nidhoggr, it was because they didn't really have no Holy Relic and stuff like that, so I didn't really do it much at all. I really needed to. Cause it was like the only time I ever did like Nidhoggr for stuff like that, it was just for like pretty much either grinding for the artifact card or yeah, just showcasing the team, like what I'm doing right now with this MAEL. That's because you don't really need to use MAEL like that, or not use MAEL, or like play against some of these bosses so many times and stuff like that. Like, it'd be so many people questioning me sometimes. They'd be like, yo, really, how you don't know what this boss does and stuff like that? And it's because, like, bro, I have no reason to like play it so consistently that I literally memorize the boss and stuff like that. Like, because the devs don't really release so many Holy Relics, so I kind of don't have the urge to like remember every little pass and stuff like that, especially for the Ratatoskr, like every little gimmick and stuff like that. Dang, that did 10 million. So I don't really need to like focus on like remember each little gimmick when it comes to the Ratatoskr and stuff like that. I just try my best and stuff like that, and then if it fails, it fails. Or I just look at somebody else's guides and stuff like that and reread like what they did, just to kind of like figure out what to do. That's because again, like I'm still a regular person. All right, you think I want to sit and play grandcross all the time to the point where I'm memorizing every little thing? No, I like to chill. I like to relax myself. You know, work. Like over here, I still work, have an own job. Like I remember stuff at my job over grandcross, but when it comes to like grandcross and stuff like that, if it's not simple, I'm probably not going to like pay attention to whatever gimmick it does. Because again, trying to remember like what each gimmick does, it just gets annoying. It gets really annoying. So I hope that things are like a little bit as simple as possible. So again, we on Ratatoskr. Now first floor of Ratatoskr, I kind of know. In terms of like, it's pretty straightforward. Oh my god, I already know. Like after this, I'm going to bed. Like it's right now it's like 12:51 a.m. and I've been up since like all day probably. I was supposed to take a nap, but didn't even take a nap. So again, this is Ratatoskr. Again, you just want to try to move on each log and stuff like that and get rid of them. I'm probably just gonna do the first floor. Like I said before, they don't really release holy relics and stuff like that. So it's no point of me even trying to like do anything crazy in terms of grinding all the way to the third floor, especially when most of y'all not even gonna try to attempt third floor with this MAEL, unless you have Jormungandr, what I got right now, Jormungandr and Valenti, because again, you can do a lot of fun teams with Jormungandr. That's why I kind of like summon for her, because I already know when it comes to Nidhoggr, not Nidhoggr, Ratatoskr, eventually I'm gonna be playing so much that I'll be able to use kind of whatever, because again, it's gonna be a minute before they release another demonic beast. Again, we're hoping that it happens pretty soon though, just to give us a little bit more content. But again, it's gonna be a while, and we will have to see what they'll do in terms of the next demonic beast, if any, because again, you still have the fourth floor that you can possibly have happen. So again, you want to move into all of the logs, and each log has their own little passive in which or buff in which you can do damage. Now the middle doesn't have any of those buffs where it stops you from doing damage, but on the left side is where you can't use ranged attacks, and on the right log is where you can't use physical attacks. You know, the one that are the sword, and the bow and arrow is the one that is going to be range attacks. But yeah, I am definitely like super exhausted. Yeah, and so we moved them all three, and when you do that, you are now able to pretty much deal damage. So this is gonna probably be the end of the video. So hopefully you guys enjoy. This is Marilli, guys, and I'm out. Peace.